pass on to Stephen again, who's going to bring us up to date with some diagnostic initiatives.
Thanks, Greg. So next slide, please. Thanks. And again, so just to highlight some of the activities in the diagnostic space, and you'll see a lot of alignments with the surveillance space. They tend to go hand in hand pretty well. But like Sharon said too, before I sort of kick off here, I'd like to acknowledge that a lot of this work that you're going to see here is solely due to the funding from the Australian government that we've received this year and in previous years. And a lot of the delivery of what we've got up here has been in conjunction with the Subcommittee on Plant Health Diagnostics. So we're doing a lot of coordination in this space. So some of the highlights from recent times, like the surveillance space, we ran the annual Diagnosticians workshop about 3 weeks ago in Sydney. That was the 8th Diagnosticians workshop that we've run, so it's been a successful series. 65 participants from across the spectrum of government, CSIRO, museums, universities, and a couple of industry-based organisations such as Sugar Research Australia. Supporting and linking in with that, the National Plant Biosecurity Diagnostic Network, the website has been redeveloped. The initial website was developed in about 2012, and so it's about time we've come up with new technologies and everything. We've had a bit of a change or an enhanced approach to national diagnostic protocols. So for those of you who don't know, national diagnostic protocols are endorsed documents that we all agree that that's how we will diagnose a significant plant pest should we pick it up. So if we use a national diagnostic protocol and get a positive outcome, we're very confident in what we've actually detected. So we've taken an approach, instead of going one by one on pest by pest, we're trying out doing a project approach where we're grouping lots together to try and increase our coverage of that. And it's only just started, but it seems to be a relatively successful approach. I've also been doing a lot of work in the National Plant Pest Reference Collection strategy space. So reference collections are really important, but a very non-sexy part of the diagnostic system. So there's been a lot of work in developing a strategy and an implementation plan to support that, into making sure that they actually are well and truly maintained going into the future. We've also facilitated a significant amount of professional development targeted at diagnosticians. This has ranged from things like our diagnostic residentials, where we allow diagnosticians to travel from one lab to another to get greater experience and build networks. We ran a lucid key development workshop as part of the annual Diagnosticians workshop, and in the last sort of 6 months, we've run 4 taxa-specific courses under the Diagnostic Network, and this is things like answer biosecurity concern and how to identify them. And we have another 4 of them lined up to be delivered in the next couple of months, including one around capra beetle and related insects. The other big thing that we've done recently is the development of a surge capacity laboratory workflow simulator. So we now have modelled the workflow for diagnosing Xylella through a molecular mechanism through a couple of labs in Australia, and that allows us to work out how we can either add new people, new equipment, or rearrange people to actually get the most out of a lab and get the most samples through in a day. Next slide, please. Thank you. So looking forward, in terms of the diagnostic policy space, we'll be focusing the National Plant Biosecurity Diagnostic Strategy, the sub-strategy to the National Plant Biosecurity Strategy, as mentioned, is up for review through the Subcommittee of Plant Health Diagnostics. We're initiating the review of that in the coming months. And so through the next financial year, we'll hopefully be able to generate a draft document and finalise our new vision for the next 10 years in the diagnostic space. And just to reflect on the old or the current diagnostic strategy, it's actually been through the subcommittee very much the basis for our work plan for the last 10 years. So it's been integrally used and guided us quite effectively. Other strategies in terms of the reference collection strategy, there's a definite focus on implementation. We've got a couple of projects already going to be rolling out, where we initially look at mapping the coverage of our national priority plant pests in reference collections, and looking at the standards that support curation and keeping collections in place. The surge capacity work that mentioned last slide is going to continue. We're going to look at going from a Xylella model to a more generic surge capacity model, so that we can roll this out across the network, so all labs will be able to enhance or at least utilise their equipment and people in the best manner possible for each of their diagnostic tests. And diagnostic protocol development will continue. We have more funding for that again, and we'll probably continue on the project approach. Next slide, please. And then into the diagnostic network space or the coordination space. The first one here is a really exciting one for me. We're in the process of currently appointing a diagnostics and surveillance networks coordinator. This is someone who's going to be based at PHA and take leadership in both the diagnostic and surveillance network areas, and actually give us a figure point to really put some effort in behind these networks. Now, I'm really excited because I think it's going to really improve our linkages and improve our capability, but it's also, as far as I'm aware, the first time anywhere in the world that any of the diagnostics or surveillance networks around actually have someone as a figurehead to lead it. So I think it's going to be some really good things coming out in the next couple of years. And to support those, or this person can help run out more professional development workshops. We're running more diagnostic residential skills-based takes for workshops, and probably some just generic skills workshops. The proficiency testing. So proficiency testing is where we essentially send known samples around to different labs and ensure that they can get the right diagnostic outcome. We currently do that year in, year out, but I think in the next 12 months, we're looking at how we can enhance it and make it a sort of world-leading proficiency testing program. And then, like in the surveillance space, we're very hopeful that we'll be able to run the next annual diagnosticians workshop in around about 12 months. Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Stephen. Again, I haven't seen any questions come in, so we'll just move forward. That's okay.